Okay guys, we have a oven here with the error code. This one is a Maytag. It's about 7 years old. After the power outage we had a error code come up, F9E0. I did some research online. It said that the self-cleaning motor is locked in the wrong position. This one, it doesn't even have a motor. So I pulled the diagnostic sheet in the back. I looked it up. F9E0 means miswired house. I tested. I'm getting 240 there. Took this panel off. Look, the wires are still attached. Nothing burnt off. The board doesn't have any burn marks. Basically, there's not much left. Just the board. I'm gonna try disconnect a few components and turn it back on and see if anything else could be shorted. See if I keep getting the beeping. I don't like putting the boards in without any signs of burn marks because you don't know if it's gonna work. It's an expensive part, but sometimes you do what you have to do. So, okay. So one of these is power to the board, looks like. Okay. So we disconnected the probe, the temperature sensor. The code comes right back. Yeah, these cables are to the heating elements. These thick ones. There's nothing else left. We're gonna just put the new board in. Take this panel off. A bunch of screws in the back here. And here's the new board. Has an identical overlay. In some cases you have to heat it up with a heat gun and take that off and transfer it. This one was identical. Here's the part number. And the model number for the stove is usually when you open the bottom drawer on the leg. Okay, so this one's right here. So we just, we're gonna try put the new board in and hope it works. Shouldn't be too hard to put it in. So anyway, don't forget to unplug the stove when you're playing with the cables in the backs, otherwise you might get a spark. So we're gonna just take these screws out here and connections, and it should be out. Okay, so here's the new board and the old one. Usually inspect the board for any little burn marks. Capacitors, if they're like this is a capacitor, this big one, if they're exploding, resistors, if they're getting brown, that means they were excessive heat. But I've seen even with the resistors brown and capacitors bulging, I've seen them still work, sometimes work intermittently. Relays get stuck sometimes inside, you can't tell, and in that case heating element wouldn't cycle, will be on or off all the time. But in this one, if it's throwing error code right away when you plug it in, yeah, most likely something else is damaged. Could be even the microchips. And there's no visual signs, so we're just gonna go by faith, put a new one in. We tested everything else around it, and we'll see how it works. Okay, the new board is in. Let's plug all the connections. Always good to take a picture so you know exactly where they go, because some they're made for multiple models and has a lot more pins. So let's make sure we got it right. Yeah, so these are not being used. This is for different model Okay, and here's the moment of truth. Oh, one more guy here. Oh, no more error code. Praise the Lord. Okay, this one is fixed. Just gotta put a few screws back in.